And we are back.
We are back, Bumble Bitches.
Episode 47 of season 2 of the To Be Better podcast.
A lot of episodes.
It is. It is. We're coming up to the end of the year. We have, 6 episodes left? 5 episodes left?
I don't math.
We're getting close.
I believe you.
We're getting close. You know what else we need to do?
What's that?
Order our onesies if we're going to continue that tradition.
Oh, yeah, our onesies. What are you going to do this year?
I don't know.
I'm still sold on the candy canes, the giant candy canes.
What was that?
The candy cane hook.
Oh.
It's going to come off our heads.
We'll see.
Okay.
We have been live for Patreon for, I don't know, 45 minutes now while we eat breakfast and have been bullshitting with people. So for those of you who are listening or watching after this has been recorded, if you would like to watch us record these lives and see stuff that gets taken out of the podcast, join our Patreon. That's the best way to stay in the loop of everything and get unreleased exclusive content.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Very well said, husband.
I don't think that we have a whole lot of stuff to do right now. We've been recording a lot because Carrie's not been here, and we're trying to get back ahead because the Thailand trip took a lot of time away from us.
Yes.
So do you have anything that you want to go into before we go live, or before we get into emails? I mean,
there's one note that I thought of.
Okay.
That I want to say to you and just see what the impact of the sentence is. And then I thought of something from Thailand that made me giggle that I want to share. We were all hanging out by the pool and you were taking a nap. I was talking to everybody and I kept referring to you as my husband. And that's what I do.
Yeah. You do it while I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I was editing yesterday and you were like, my husband, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
right.
I'm here.
I'll even greet you with it. My husband.
Yeah, I know.
I said it this morning when you woke up.
Yep.
I don't know. I get excited that I get to call you that. You're my husband, and that's nice.
Okay. So,
and one of the ladies was like, I love that you call him my husband, even though we all know him. We've met him. We know his name is Chris. And she was like, I can't wait to be like, my hubby this, my hubby that. Let me ask my hubby. I was like, it's definitely a very nice goal to have.
Yeah.
But
do you think that that's that the perspective of that has changed?
What do you mean?
Because
perspective of what?
Of what a husband is and like the what it is to be married, because we've talked about in the past how people are the wedding day is the end.
Yeah.
And it's not about what comes after the wedding or the marriage. Like the end goal is the wedding. And that's obviously not the case if she's looking forward to being able to say my husband this, my husband that.
Yeah.
And she's going to be proud to be somebody's wife. Do you think that is like a perspective shift? Do you think we're changing the views?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I will my husband everything to death. If you think I love my husband too much, then you're not the right friend.
There you go.
Farewell. Toodaloo.
That's funny.
So I had a thought, right? Because I was driving, tootling along, listening to Amy Winehouse.
You were really on that kick, huh?
I am on that kick. Yeah. I think that I am going to deep dive the mental health of female celebrities. Like, I think I'm going to do Amy Winehouse, Britney Spears, Janis Joplin, I think her name is. There's a few of them I have on my radar that I want to deep dive how the industry and popularity and celebrity affected them and all of that. But the thought that I had was, if I say something, right, I am talking about my experience in life and something that was traumatic for me, something that was a pattern that I noticed, and I was like, I don't want to do that, and noted, and I share that life experience with other people, and the person who is whatever linked because they did the behaviors, they said the thing, whatever, is ashamed of that. That's nobody's problem but your own, because you did it. Right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, shame is a personal thing for sure.
Right. So I have personally felt, and I've heard this from other people, a lot of shunning, right? Friend groups, family members, social settings, mom groups, those kinds of things. If they verbalize something that they didn't like, right? This hurt me. You're doing this and that's not a good idea, right? Like drinking and driving, we don't do that. And if it's brought up in the capacity of boundary setting, I'm not going to tolerate this. This isn't okay. We're not going to let this happen anymore. And the person who did the thing is ashamed of it. They feel bad and they have an outward burst of emotion, and it's defensiveness and anger because how dare you talk about the wrong thing that I did? You're wrong for talking shit about me, versus accountability for what they did was wrong. Does that make sense? That's just.
Are you talking to them or about them? Because I think that matters.
So it depends on the situation, right? So if it's never shit talking, right? It's this happened. This was so what we do on the podcast, we talk about experiences, how we grew from them. This happened and we evolved this way. In that capacity, right? Say from, I don't know, mom used to be a party girl. A lot of bad things happened in the friend group that she was a part of. And now she's trying to relay that as a learning lesson to her child. In that kind of way.
Okay.
Not shit talking, more of a learn by proxy of me.
Okay, so that makes sense. I was just checking because of the way that you were laying it out. It could have been if so-and-so was drinking and driving and then you went around the friend group and was,
right,
speaking on their shame and they were feeling shame and they're like, I can't believe you're talking shit about the thing that I did.
Right.
Technically, that would be talking shit.
Yeah, no, that's not what I was.
Which is why I was clarifying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this one is titled, Long Read, Lost in This Relationship. Hello, thank you for all that you do for sharing your insight on all things relationship-wise and giving us invaluable advice towards the people that we love most, the people we hold closest to us. I am feeling incredibly lost in my current relationship, and I am reaching out because I'm hoping for some guidance. My current SO and I have been together for 7 years, going on 8. We have had issues with communicating during conflict, always, and it has led to resentment as well as unresolved problems from our past that come up in every argument we ever have.
So there's a lot of scorekeeping too.
Scorekeeping, yeah.
Unresolved shit means that all of those fights that they're having has done absolutely nothing other than ruin days.
Right. Ruin days and build distance between them.
Right,
Yeah.
because nothing's being resolved.
It's just anger.
It's being brought back up over and over and over again. So it's obviously not been resolved. So all the fights that you've had where you're trying to effectively resolve conflict is just completely wasted conflict.
Yeah. What's the point of that? Right? 7 years of this, almost 8. No resolution, no talking about things. We're just yelling to yell. What, do we like hearing ourselves scream? Do we feel good while we're yelling? Is this built up energy that we're just releasing and we're okay with treating each other like shit? Where is the I don't want to live life this way?
Right. It doesn't solve anything.
Right.
I probably shouldn't do this, but on one of our big spiritual journeys, we were watching Avatar, the first one, which is always a great movie until things start to take effect and then you realize, but there was a scene in that movie where they're just destroying everything. And as everybody's fighting, and I looked at you and I was like, I can't fucking believe the amount of energy that they put into hating each other. Like, this just is exhausting to me.
Yeah.
We had to turn the movie off. Like, I couldn't watch it anymore because it was physically fucking with my like,
chi.
Yeah. It was exhausting me. Like, watching them go through this shit was exhausting.
Too much.
And I think that that's part of where my I don't want to do this comes in. Like, I would much rather just have a conversation and go about, because when that shit starts to shift, it really fucks with me.
Yeah, me too. I get it.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so okay with we can either have a civil conversation or I can go sit outside and listen to the birds tweet and look at bugs. I could read a book.
And then we can talk about it. I think that the more we become okay with not engaging in conflict, like choosing to actively avoid it.
Right.
And this is not an avoidance thing. This is as simple as
you're not doing that.
Right. I'm not willing to meet you on that level.
I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to be degrading.
Right. And I got to be honest, part of that for me comes down to it's not worth it. You're not worth it. Like, it's really not. Like, I'm not going
to fight for you.
Getting to that point with you with you. Getting to that point at any point in my life is exhausting. I don't care who it is. I don't want to have that kind of confrontation or that kind of back and forth. It's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to fight for you because there are people who need that. If they argue with me, they care about me.
Yeah.
Not going to do that with you.
I highly suggest that everybody reads the Celestine Prophecy.
Yep.
Yeah. Understand what the control dramas are. Yes, it's a novel. It's not like a fucking real book. But the control drama, it is a real book. It's printed. It's a real book. But it's not like a self-help book like we normally recommend. It's an enjoyable journey.
It's a fiction.
Right. But there are things in that book that come from Jungian psychology, and the control dramas is part of that. So that's why it's on our reading list.
Yeah.
My ass cheek is frozen.
I believe it.
I can feel it in my bone.
My whole body's cold.
I'm sitting on an ice pack.
I feel like I'm under a vent right now. Is it helping?
I have no idea.
But sitting is okay.
I'll find out when I get up.
Okay.
If it cramps again and I almost eat shit,
Okay.
we'll find out.
Well, I'm glad you're not sitting in pain. Continuing on, my partner will voice his concern about what happened to upset him, and then I will either try to console him and or explain where I was coming from, not saying he is wrong or that I am right, in hopes that we can now put together the two sides of the story to come to an agreement about how to move forward to not let it happen again.
What does that look like? Because I think that that's healthy.
Right.
And some people say it's manipulating and that you're making it about you when you're telling your side of the story. Some people need to explain why things are the way they are. I'm one of those people. And it's not because I'm trying to change things. I just want you to understand my perspective of why I did what I did. That can come from abuse and it can come from autism. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not my situation is more important than yours. It's just, I understand that you took it that way and I'm sorry that you took it that way. I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt you. Like, here was my thought process behind it. And now that I know that hurt you, I won't do it anymore. That's a very different conversation than you did. Well, you did. Well, you did. Well, you said. It's a very different conversation. So how that looks matters. And if your intent is just to reach common ground, you got to find the right way to communicate that.
Right.
Not throwing shade and fucking judgment at each other. Right.
Continuing on.
Sure.
He will berate me for speaking at all. He says that the fact that I am talking shows that I'm being disrespectful, and for some reason he always thinks I'm shutting down his feelings, that he has to refute/argue against what I'm trying to say. So, in order to try out his method, I listen to his concerns fully without speaking and do not contribute my thoughts on the matter until he has made it clear he is done.
Okay, so two things that are happening there. One, it proved exactly what I said. She's not validating him when having the conversation.
Right.
She's now doing that out of being petty.
Right, not actually trying to hear where he's coming from.
Right.
It's out of, fine, I'll shut up if you want me to shut up.
That's it. That's exactly what's happening right there.
Okay.
And that situation can be avoided by engaging while the conversation's happening. I feel like da-da-da-da-da, and I hate it when you always da-da-da-da-da, and then the probing question should happen so that you can actually understand what's happening right now. Shutting down and waiting for them to be done and being like, are you done? Can I talk now?
Right. Totally disengaging until it's your turn to speak is childish.
It is. It's also not
conductive to the conversation.
right. You're not providing anything. You're just waiting for your turn to talk.
Yeah.
Which is going to further make him feel invalidated.
Continuing on, when I speak next, it turns into the same conversation about how nothing I say could possibly make him less upset with me and how none of it matters and that the only thing I could have done to be better and that the only thing I could have done to better the situation was to not fuck up in the first place.
Right. Well, there's nothing that you can do to make anybody feel anything other than what they're feeling.
Right.
They chose to use the anger as a tool to fly off the handle. That's a choice. And if he's already angry, sad, or depressed, or whatever the thing is, there's nothing that you can say to make him not feel that. Even if you guys found resolution in the moment of what's happening, he's still going to feel what he's feeling. He's got to work through those emotions and get back to an even keel.
Yep.
You don't get anxious or scared and just go back to normal like that. It doesn't happen. It's got to taper back down the way that it tapered up.
100%.
But saying that the only thing that you could have done is to not have fucked up in the first place. Everybody fucks up. Is he blaming you for every wrong in the relationship? Because that's a problem.
It is a problem.
But he's also right in that statement.
Right. If you knew it was going to be something that triggered him, caused anxiety, was blurring a boundary.
Right.
Some people live by it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Right. And on the opposite side of that coin, it's also his responsibility to manage his emotions and not yours.
Right.
So this is the difficulty of an elevated understanding of what conflict looks like. It makes it very hard to like look at a normal person's argument and be like, great points, guys.
Right. Yep.
Oh man.
Right, because if they've had multiple conversations about something that bothers him, and she does it and then just tries to apologize, there is nothing you can say at this point. You shouldn't have fucked up in the first place.
Right. That's an extreme.
Not if there's been multiple conversations.
Yeah. I still think that's a waste of energy. People are gonna make mistakes.
Right. I'm not in arguing, but in saying that you shouldn't have just fucked up.
Right.
Right. Like if I told you making jokes about my weight hurts my feelings in group settings, right? And we are now 3 weeks into having group settings once a week and you're still doing it. There's nothing you can say at this point to make me feel better about what's happening. You shouldn't have fucking done it.
Yeah.
Like now I have to recover from this and figure out what I want to do going forward. That's not her problem.
Right. I agree.
That is information for him to be like, okay, she doesn't care.
So where's the grace in that then? Is there a grace in that situation at all? And I'm gonna give you a specific example when you're done.
So in the example that I gave, if there's repeated disrespect like that, my grace is freeing you from this relationship to find new happiness.
Okay. So what if the person in that scenario, because you said us, what if I was just naturally a ball buster and all I did was talk shit to everyone?
Yeah.
Trying to be funny because some people think that shit's funny and that's part of my personality.
Yeah.
And weight jokes get a laugh, and that was why I always went to them, right? And then you told me that it was a problem for you, and I did it, and I apologized.
Right.
Or like it happened, and then it didn't happen for a couple weeks, and then one slipped out, right? Because that's just the personality type. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying, is there a grace there in that the corrections? Because if it becomes less frequent, that's the taper off, right? Like people can't just break a habit because you want them to break a habit. It's like quitting smoking or cursing.
Right, but I think when you're poking at your loved one's weight, that's not a habitual thing that you do.
Some people are just fuckfaces.
Right, so
and
my mistake in choosing that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think that in people changing who they are to better themselves or to be better for their person,
Right.
there needs to be a level of grace. And like there can be some dirty ass looks where immediately pull them off to the side and be like, hey, we fucking talked about this.
Right.
You owe me an apology in front of everyone. Right? Like
Yeah. There would be that correction.
Okay.
But if it continued to happen, I'm not choosing this. I'm not going to live my life knowing that my partner thinks I'm a butt of a joke. I'm not doing that.
That's fair. I agree.
Okay.
I was just curious.
I understand.
Okay. Not that I do that.
No,
but-
you don't.
Yeah. Jude shop.
Mind you, some of these fuck ups have been grave.
Okay. Before you reread that,
Okay.
somebody in the chat, and for those of you who are listening and watching after the fact, the Patreon audience, we get to see what's being said.
Yeah.
So again, if you're not a part of our Patreon community, I highly recommend that you go join our Patreon so that you can be the person that we're reading comments from while we're doing our episode. He said, how can you switch from emotional thinking and rational to rational thinking without being a heartless asshole? I want to know why you feel that's the case. Because when I become logic brain, am I an asshole? Or am I less of an asshole?
When you're logic brain?
Yeah.
I think you become more of an asshole.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree.
I don't mean like you're mean and shitty, but there's definitely a change in tone where I can tell that you don't care about what's being talked about right now. We're just having the conversation.
That's different than being emotional and logic brain. Me
Yeah.
not caring about the conversation is very different than going from emotional brain thinking to logic brain thinking. Because I know for a fact when I'm emotional, my filter's gone.
Yeah.
That makes me an asshole. So like if we're having a heated discussion and I'm operating purely on emotion, you're going to get a very different version of me than if I'm able to take a breath, cool
Right.
myself down, and talk to you with love and respect and kindness.
Right.
And that is logic brain to me. That sucks that you equate logic brain thinking to emotionless and like
Okay.
the disconnect of caring about the conversation. There are things that we talk about that are not a me problem that I am invested in because it affects you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, those are things that you have to correct and you have to deal with. So like I am only invested so much. Maybe I'm answering emails or I'm doing the other things. Just like there's things that I
Right.
am super involved in that like I don't burden you with.
Right.
So like I'm sorry if that's a thing.
Okay.
I will try to correct that side of me, but damn, that backfired.
Sorry.
Well, that's the thing, I guess. Well, there you go. Leaving that in.
Okay. I feel bad now.
I feel awkward as fuck.
You want to go back to the email?
Jenna said, logic speaking comes across as teacher versus student often. I would see why it would almost feel clinical discussion rather than invested conversation. I can see that being the case if one person is overly emotional and the other one is logic. I could see how that would actually come across as probably condescending, but I think that comes into choosing your verbiage properly. And that's something that maybe I still need to work on, which is why you felt the way you felt just now. That maybe that's a discussion that needs to be had. Maybe that needs to be a, hey, in the moment, you're being a little too cold for me and I don't like this.
Oh, so sorry, baby. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did you shock her?
By accident, yeah. It's on a low setting. I'm so sorry, baby. You were doing absolutely okay. The button slipped. I'm so sorry. I'm going to give you extra lovinge now. Yeah, I'll give you some chin scratches too. That was an absolute accident. You're the goodest girl. Back to the email?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so mind you, some of the fuck-ups have been grave, emotional infidelity once, and others have been about not cleaning a coffee cup in the sink, or ask him a question about weighing a package for shipping for a business that he said was stupid enough to begin an argument that turned into how I didn't respect his authority and how I didn't respect him.
Well, let's break down each one of those individually.
Okay, so you want to start with the emotional infidelity?
Yeah, because that's not a fuck up. Like,
right, that doesn't just happen.
Yeah, that's not an oops, right? Like that was intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry I backed into your child in this line of 100 people. That's
sorry I
an
stepped on
oops.
your foot, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional infidelity.
That's a choice every day,
Right.
right? Emotional infidelity is deeper than just a sexual thing,
I agree.
right? It would be easier for me mentally and emotionally to get over a photo being sent as a one-time thing versus 3 weeks of daily nonstop communication.
Good morning, beautiful. Going to bed now. Talk
Can't
to you
stop
later,
thinking
honey.
about
Yeah.
you.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So we don't even really need to get into that one. That's not a fucking oops.
Yeah.
We can just move right into the next one.
The next one was a coffee cup being in the sink. I'm going to read it verbatim. A coffee cup in the sink. That's the next one. Not cleaning a coffee cup in the sink.
Okay, so is that your responsibility or is that like we clean our own dishes?
How long had it been sitting there?
Right. There's questions about that one,
Yeah.
right? Like if you guys don't have a clear defined whose job is whose, and he just doesn't want to ever have dishes in the sink and he put a coffee cup there and you left it because that's his fucking coffee cup, you fucking put that cup there. That's your problem, right? Like,
Right.
yeah.
Next one was asking him a question about weighing a package for shipping for our business that he said was stupid enough to begin an argument that turned into how I didn't respect his authority and how I didn't respect him.
Okay. Have you given him authority?
Yeah, that's a good
Right?
question.
Like, has that been a discussion? Like we've established that he is the authority in things.
Oh, did you stop because I was itching my septum?
I did, because I forgot that it's going to be one screen when I edit.
Yeah.
And I could have just kept talking and no one would have ever known you had your finger up there.
Well, it wasn't really in my nose. It was right here on the...
Right. I saw what you were doing.
It felt like there was a tickle.
Total distraction.
Okay.
And I don't remember what we were talking about. Unless she actually gave him authority and has final decision, he doesn't have to respect his authority. You don't have authority. We're a fucking team.
Yeah.
Right? The thing that I want to talk about, though, and that last part is the weighing thing for our business. If this isn't a stupid question situation, if I don't know the answer to this and it could affect our income, I don't give a fuck how stupid you think it is. I need to know the answer. Because me not knowing the answer is a fucking problem. And if I don't know and I'm afraid to ask you because you're thinking I'm not going to respect your authority, or you think that it's fucking stupid or that I'm stupid, our business is going to fail. Because I don't feel safe enough asking you a simple fucking question without being berated or broken down because you have a superiority complex.
Right.
So that last one really bothers me. The authority comment really fucking bothers me.
Does it bother you coming from him, from her, or both?
That's not a statement that should be used in a house.
Okay. I think that's important to know.
Okay, so like I have final decision making.
Right.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's a fucking problem. It's not a blessing. There's a burden to that. And if I was the man who was like, well, I got final say, shut the fuck up, respect my authority. That's not the relationship we have.
Right. I view that as abuse.
That doesn't, there's no, that's a fucking problem. I got all kinds of words for that one. And they're just all over the place. That situation makes me feel like you are living under somebody's thumb versus living with your arm around somebody. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
That's I don't like that. I don't like that terminology at all.
Okay. I agree with all of that. The next one. So now it's going to go into things that he has done in the past to hurt the emailer. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on to her grievances with his actions?
Oh, what do you mean going into? That's what we've been listening to this whole time.
No, so she just talked about the things that she has done to hurt him, right? And things that have caused arguments. Now she's going to get into her grievances that have caused arguments.
Okay, so we got 3 examples.
Right.
From her, that she's done to him.
Right, the cheating, the coffee cup.
Oh, so she cheated.
Yeah, she cheated.
I can't keep up. I thought he did. That changes the entire conversation. There's resentment there.
Right. I was just going to say the coffee cup is not the coffee cup. You cheated.
Right. There's unresolved shit there.
Yeah.
And like going back to what was being said earlier about how they fight all the time and nothing ever gets resolved and old shit keeps getting brought up, knowing that there was an emotional infidelity and you cheated on him and nothing gets resolved, there's no healing there.
Right.
Okay. See, that's... I obviously am not very bright today.
I mean, you've been nonstop since we've been home.
Yeah.
And our sleep schedule is out of whack. All right, so continuing on. He has also done things in the past to hurt me gravely, such as tell me that I should have sex with him even when I am too painful. I have endometriosis because I can deal with it in order to make sacrifices for my partner. Otherwise, he will get it from someone else.
I think that there needs to be a lot. This needs to be a 2-person email.
Yeah, because that...
Go ahead. Get it out. Because I'm going to if you don't.
Sounds like marital grape.
Yeah? What about all the times on the podcast you said that sex is super fucking important in the relationship, and if you're withholding it and withholding it and withholding it, that becomes a problem.
Well, she says she has endometriosis.
Right. Well, women have headaches. And they're touched out and they have kids and there's excuses. And if she actually has that, right, and that's a problem all of the fucking time and there's no sex in the relationship, of course that conversation is going to get had.
Right.
Because there's still needs that need to be met.
Right.
And there are other things that could be done. Handy J's, BJ's, the whole thing. Like there are other options.
For him to say, I'm going to go get it from somebody else, though, if you don't give it up, even though you're in pain.
Right. Well, okay. And that statement by itself, if this was an argument and he was like demanding it and this was the only time that ever happened,
right,
I could see how that would be a problem. Fuck you, buddy, for saying that.
Yeah.
But if it's been 8 months and every single time he's tried to initiate, he's been shot down and it's always been an excuse, and that's super important to him, where does that line get drawn? Could he have said it better or handled it differently? Absolutely. But people lack communication skills.
Right.
They get emotional. They're belligerent. They're assholes. Whatever the case may be, he lacks They both lack communication.
Yeah.
If we were in a situation where we were 2 years without any type of playtime and we were having discussions, and every time I tried, you shot me down, we would have similar discussions. If it was like, if I was in that shoes, I guess. I got to be honest. If you had a medical condition, sex would be the last thing on my fucking mind. I'd be worried about your medical condition.
Right.
but I also we have intelligent conversations, and intimacy doesn't just begin in the bedroom for us.
Yeah.
I get my cup filled in other ways. I don't need that. Like, I enjoy the shit out of it, but I wouldn't allow that to dictate our relationship.
I agree.
So there is two sides of that coin as well,
Right.
which is why we need both people writing in.
I agree.
Because with that statement, if it was the one time and she had never shot him down and she shot him down once and he was like, give it to me or else, that's a fucking problem. Right?
Right. She has one foot over the side of the armrest and she looks extra cozy.
Yeah.
And I love this.
Yeah. You don't have the intrusive thoughts to fuck that up.
No.
I do that shit all the time.
That's fucked up. I'm so glad you don't do that to me when I'm sleeping. It's because I get cranky and it actually affects your life.
No, it's because there's a love there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
There have been times that I fucked with you while you were sleeping.
Really?
Yeah, because your feet will be on my lap and your toes will be out and I like touch the bottom of your foot. You don't ever wake up. It just, in your sleep, it makes you move. It's funny to me.
That's funny because I don't feel it.
Yeah, it's just enough to make you move.
That's-
I'll get a quick chuckle out of it and go about my life.
I love that.
There's been times where I've grabbed your toe and wiggled it
Yeah.
and stopped and waited to see if you'd wake up.
You know, I think I felt a toe wiggle, but I thought I was imagining things because I was so out of it.
Yeah. One
You
of these
bitch.
nights you'll have your toes out and I'll go and see if you wake up.
I would love that. All right. So continuing on, he has also sent our nudes to other people to try to elicit other people into our sex life without my consent, telling me that if I continue to work my job and not be home for him, that he will find another woman to spend time with him, telling me that I am old and washed up at my age, 35,
Why are you there still?
and that he should be spending his time finding a younger, more attractive woman I could go on.
Why are you still there?
Right.
'Cause
Why?
all of this is now your fault. I believe that you are existing in this situation because you have chose to stay in that situation.
Right.
Therefore, it is your fault. You should have left.
Yeah.
The moment all of this started and things started becoming a problem and you started realizing how fucking unhappy you were in your relationship,
And what a piece of shit he is.
you should have left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuing on, I am 35 with a decent success in the veterinarian field, working in emergency / intensive care medicine. I am self-taught and have climbed the ladder without college because I was never in the position to take classes. He has graduated with a master's degree and is a pathology assistant. However, he is not using this degree at the moment and is running a successful online sales business at home.
What does that got to do with anything?
Right. He holds it over my head that he is more successful, educated, and older than me. Therefore, what he says goes, and I am more or less a failure in life mooching off of his success. We started dating before this business and before he graduated. I lived with him in a 300 square foot dorm while he went to school and paid half his bills while working 15-hour shifts dealing with my medical problems. Not to mention, I moved across the state, leaving everything I knew behind to be with him to support him during school.
So what? What does that have to do with your current situation?
I was just thinking, so what? You're unhappy.
Right. I don't give a fuck if you guys lived in a car for 10 years and he built an empire. You're miserable. Leave. Pack your whatever you can carry, put it in your car and fucking dip. Nobody deserves to be talked to like that. Nobody deserves to be in a situation where things are going to be thrown over their head and fucking all of that is a problem. That whole situation is a problem. Dude sounds like he's got main character syndrome like a motherfucker, and you are nothing more to him than something to sleep with when he feels like it. Move on. Leave.
Yeah.
You are responsible for your happiness. No one else. No one's coming to save you. No one can live the life that you're supposed to be living. And if you choose to stay in a situation where you are being degraded, verbally abused, merrily raped, as you put it, and you are choosing to stay in that situation. You basically are saying, I don't have any boundaries. I'm okay with this. Mm-hmm. I would be damned if I ever let somebody treat me like that.
Yep. I don't want to finish that email.
I don't either. Can we move on? Because I'm super fucking annoyed
I already
now.
have another email pulled
Dope.
up. I would not try to fix that relationship. I would leave. I was in a relationship where I just felt like a sexual object. I was being sent corn while I was working, and I was the only one working, making $300 a week at some retail job, scraping by, living in a parent's house, and I was getting sent corn while I'm working a late shift. That was not the life that I wanted. I didn't want the struggle. I didn't want the objectifying. I did not want to know that while I am out here trying to provide a living for us, you're just sitting in a closet jacking off. I'm good. I left the situation, and I would recommend anybody in that kind of situation to leave it. Next email, this one's just titled Patreon. Hello, Chris and Peaches. Let me start by saying thankful for all the beautiful souls. You both helped me so much more than you could possibly fathom. I'm a 50-year-old woman, and I'm struggling as a girlfriend. Can you give some guidance on what are appropriate questions to ask and not cross the girlfriend boundaries? For example, who called or texted you while we laid in bed late last night?
Why is that a boundary? Why would that be a problem?
Like an inappropriate
If
question?
you're a girlfriend, if you have committed yourself to somebody and you are committed to the point where you're sleeping with them,
Right.
why would you feel like you can't ask that question?
Right.
Why would you give your body to somebody that you can't have an honest discussion with?
Right.
If your phone was going off, if we were just friends and your phone was going off like crazy and we were hanging out together, I'd be like, bro, what is going on over there?
Right. Like, do you have an emergency you need to leave?
Right. Like, we're supposed to be spending time together right now. I would like to be able to do that. And if you can't disengage with that long enough for us to hang out, like, I'm gonna go.
Right.
And that's on a friendship level. If we're fucking, that's a whole different ballgame.
Right. I agree.
But I also don't believe that people should just casually fuck.
I agree with that too.
If you're friends with benefits, you have no right to know what's going on in there. You made it very clear that there's nothing there other than a sexual attraction. You guys are scratching each other's back, so to speak.
Right.
But if you're a girlfriend and you're laying in bed with somebody and their phone is going off, you have every right to fucking ask, but what are you doing over there?
Yeah.
Why is your phone going off in the middle of the night anyways?
Yeah.
You work night shift? Like, are you a partier? You're in your 50s. She said she's 50 years old.
Yeah.
You dating a 20-year-old who's fucking going to raves every night? Like, what's happening right now?
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Is it okay to pick up his phone to make a call or take a picture? He accused me once of going through his phone while sleeping, but I didn't.
I'm confused. Why would you use his phone to make a call or take a picture? Is that how that read? Am I wrong in that?
No, that's how that read.
So that is you going to his phone.
Using his phone to take a picture
Right.
or make a phone call.
You were in his phone.
Yeah, that's being in the phone.
Yeah. Of course he's going to feel that way. You have your own phone.
Right.
I'm assuming you have your own phone. Why are you trying to take a picture on his phone?
Right.
It's weird. Okay.
Yeah, if you were just having my phone in your hand and you were like, hey, babe, I need it for X, Y, and Z. Why are you in my phone? What are you doing? Right? I view that as a sneaky thing.
Yeah.
You don't just go in my phone without permission. I don't just go into your backpacks without permission. You don't go in my purse without permission. Those are personal items.
Right. I could see where the accusations would be thrown there. For sure.
Yeah. Even if it's for something innocent like taking a picture. We've done that where we're out somewhere. We're both photographers. Hey, babe, can I use your phone to take a picture real quick? Yeah, I got you. It's that simple. So like I said, removing that because she said specifically taking a photo. Removing that communication of, hey, can I use your property for this purpose? Makes it sneaky.
It just seems weird as fuck though, right? Like your phone is on your nightstand. My phone is on my nightstand. Why would I reach across the bed to your phone to take a picture, make a phone call when mine's closer? Well, literally right there.
Yeah. Well, this could just be an everyday instance she's asking about using the phone.
Yeah, it still seems weird to me.
Yeah.
Because I've got my phone on me. In the event that I don't have my phone on me and we need to call somebody, I don't have their numbers. I'm going to go get my phone. And if you've got, and if they are in your phone, I can just be like, yo, call so-and-so and do.
Right.
I'm delegating responsibilities at that point. That's one less phone call I got to make. That's a fucking win.
Yeah, it's not a give me your phone
Right.
so I can do this.
Right. And if I need you to take a picture, I'll be like, if I wanted to take a picture of something, like that barcode or something, like not a creative picture, I'd be like, can you take a picture of that and send it to me real quick? Why am I grabbing your shit? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I understand that some people may do that. I think it's weird. I just think that's weird.
Yeah. It did give me a cause for concern and made me wonder what he had to hide. I know how to be a wife, but I am totally clueless on being a girlfriend. A little backstory. I was married to a complete narcissist for 34 years who completely brainwashed me to believe his way of loving was totally normal. In this marriage, we had 4 wonderful children who were my number one priority to give a good life to. I was cheated on multiple times throughout my marriage and knew at some point I would leave and end the marriage. I walked away with the clothes on my back and $249 and just drove to hide from him and start a new life. It took 3 years to get a final divorce decree, and I was happier than ever with being single, with my focus being on my children and grandchildren. Okay, so I want to say this, but I'm not going to say this in the context of the emailer because she didn't really provide a lot of information. She said that she was married to a narcissist for 34 years. And then in this marriage, we had 4 wonderful children who were my number one priority to give a good life to. Okay, so I'm thinking a lot of things. And I'm just going to spew it. And it's not all specifically correlated to the emailer. It's just things that I'm spewing after reading that.
Okay.
Why bring children into a relationship where you feel like you're not okay?
Okay. That's
Right?
a valid question.
She said that she was brainwashed into thinking that his way of loving, whether that be abuse or whatever it was, I understand how mental illness can lead one to believe they're in a safe situation when they're not, all those kinds of things, right? If you know you're not in a safe situation, don't have children. Leave first and then have the kids. It saves a lot of trauma to very young children. Was he a true narcissist? Right? Or was he a man who was tired of being put last because you have 4 children and those became your number one priority in life?
Well, yeah, I was actually going to say, I wonder if the kids feel like the dad's a narcissist.
Right.
Because now there's grandbabies involved, which means they're all, they're grown.
Yeah.
It's a question.
Right. Life situations suck sometimes, and navigating them sucks.
I wonder if he was diagnosed as a narcissist or if that was just the label she gave him.
It could be.
Because that's such an easy to go to.
Yeah.
It's everybody's
asshole,
ex is
so
a
he's a
narcissist now.
narcissist.
Right. That is the go-to for literally fucking everyone.
Yeah.
Which makes the people who actually had narcissistic abuse with somebody who truly has narcissistic personality disorder invalid.
Right. You said that, and this just correlated something into my brain. I was listening to a Dr. Phil episode, and this mom and dad split, right? She was very physically abusive with the father. She would hold the baby and then beat him. And she's like, you can't hit me back because I'm holding our kid. Like, it was a very manipulated situation. And they had provided text messages, 911 transcripts, all these kinds of things to Dr. Phil. And this mom was threatening the dad because he left the house to go on a walk around the block with the infant. And she was like, my son is missing. I don't know where you guys are at. I'm going to call the cops and all these other kinds of things. And Dr. Phil was like, how dare you? There are parents out there whose children are truly missing. This kid's father took him on a walk.
Right.
How dare you say that your son is missing? And that's that whole narcissist thing.
It invalidates a lot of people. It's no different than the Me Too movement.
Right.
And like what is considered great now. Somebody gives you a compliment, you don't like it, it's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because you don't like the way that they look. Therefore, they're fucking wrong for throwing that compliment at you. But if somebody that you were attracted to that compliment, it make you feel good.
Yeah.
And that somehow that situation invalidates what women are actually going through when people are being groped and grabbed and fucking raped. Like that was a big discussion for a while. You have to be very careful when you place a label on somebody as to whether or not that person is really those things. You may have had to experience some bad shit, but maybe he was really a fucking narcissist.
Right.
But if the kids don't feel that way and it's just a bad relationship and you got out of there, like you had a bad relationship.
You got out of there, which is good.
Right.
A year and a half ago, a man messaged me on Facebook and we began to talk. And finally, after weeks of him asking, I agreed to dinner and it went great. I was trying to tell myself we were going to be just friends when a life-changing event happened in my family and I ran to help my child. I told him what had happened and I had to drive 3 hours to be there through a very tough time. He immediately said, I'm going to pack and I'll be right behind you to be any support y'all need. That week changed my mind and I fell so deeply in love with him. Fast forward a few months, and through our talks, I found out the relationships he had before me were with women younger than my children, and he is now 55.
So there's a lot there. This woman is very judgmental. She's very judgmental.
Yeah.
And very unstable. Dude came to support her, and she fell in love over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Per her words. Mm-hmm. And who gives a shit if he dated younger women?
Right. To say that they're younger than your children, if your children are
she's 50.
In their 30s,
right.
40s.
Well, if she's 50, they could realistically be in their mid to late 20s, even into their early 30s. Right? Like, that's not an unheard of thing.
Right.
My mom had me when she was 17.
Right.
But so like that would be a thing. Like, if he was dating children,
right,
that would be a very different conversation. If he was 45 years old dating a 17-year-old or a 15-year-old, that's a fucking cause for concern.
Mm-hmm. But if he's a 50-year-old dating a 35-year-old.
Right, or even a 25-year-old.
Both consenting adults.
Correct. Why are you having a problem with this if he's with you now? Right. Why does the previous relationships even fucking matter if they were legal?
Clearly, the younger ones did not work out.
Right. Why is that a problem for you?
Yeah. Continuing on.
Well, no.
Well, she explains.
But hold on. What if he was like, well, you dated narcissists in the past. I have a problem with that.
Yeah. I don't know how to not compare myself to one of them, as he was madly in love with her and was planning to propose when she broke it off with him and even had a restraining order placed against him.
So you think that he was in love with her age and body and not who she was as a person? Is that... I don't understand. I don't understand why that's a problem.
Yeah, that sounds like a very vain thing. Because if the highlight is that she was younger, right, prettier, if she wants to call it that, more beautiful, more youthful, whatever, that is all based on appearance.
Right, and if that's all he wanted, he wouldn't be with a 50-year-old woman.
Right.
He would be looking for younger women again.
What, comparison... is the
biggest thief of joy.
The thief of joy. That's what it is. I was going to say killer of joy. Killer of happiness.
Yeah. Comparison
is a thief of joy.
And there's a difference between happiness and joy. Mm-hmm. Happiness is fleeting.
Yeah.
Those are, it's no different than anger.
Yeah.
Or anxiety. Joy is a lifelong achievement. It's something that you're trying to obtain.
Right. That's a good way to put that. I have scars that I'm healing from my terrible marriage. I have never been an insecure woman, but suddenly I am.
You shouldn't be in a relationship then.
I agree.
Jealousy is not a bad thing. It can become an extreme and make it a bad thing, just like narcissism is not a bad thing.
Right.
It can become extreme and make it a bad thing. I like a little bit of jealousy. I like having a little bit of jealousy in me.
Yeah.
If you do some shit or somebody's talking to you and I get jealous about it, I love you, bitch. Like,
yeah,
what you doing over there? Right? Like,
yeah,
I'm alive. I'm fucking alive. Mm-hmm. Bro, what are you doing?
Fire in my belly.
Why are you talking to my woman, motherfucker? Like, mm-hmm. Now, if I was like, your phone goes off, who the fuck you talking to? You cheating on me? Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That's a different conversation.
I'm so insecure. I need you to validate me as your man.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know the boundaries as just a girlfriend. We have lived together for a year now, and I want marriage, and he does not.
And they live together.
Ooh.
So she has a concern about asking him who she's 50. He's 55.
He's freeloading.
Why? Well, maybe, but why is he messaging people in the middle of the night, making phone calls in the middle of the night at 55 years old? I'm 44. My phone is on Do Not Disturb after 8 o'clock.
Sometimes.
No, it's always on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
I may be on the internet fucking around, but my phone's not ringing. There's select people that can get through the Do Not Disturb.
Right.
My phone goes on Do Not Disturb automatically at a specific time every night and stays that way until a specific time every morning. Mm. So if I'm on my phone, it's because I'm fucking around on the internet. Ain't nobody calling me and getting through. And if they do, it's an emergency. Mm. And my phone rings and you go, who is that? If you were just a girlfriend in my bed at fucking, we were living together and my phone went off at midnight, you have every right to ask who the fuck is calling us at midnight.
Well, she also said texting late at night.
Same thing. You're disrupting our life. Like, now, if I'm engaging with somebody, you have every right to ask who I'm talking to, because this is not normal behavior. And you do ask me at 10 o'clock at night when I'm fucking over there on my phone, what are you doing? I'm in Discord. I'm fucking arguing with a troll on the internet. Like, talking to Jeff Graham, right? Like, why would that be a problem? If it's only a problem if I'm doing something wrong and I get defensive about you asking, right? Yeah.
I would not live with somebody who does not want marriage if that's what I want.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to separate our lives. Thanks for letting me know. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I didn't want to interrupt you. That was me trying to like mind my P's and Q's and still trying to hold back a smirk because of what I'm about to say. I find myself really funny.
I know you do. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're funny too.
I appreciate that because most people don't enjoy my humor. Jay on the chat said, bro, I'm 29 and passed out by 9:30, 10 o'clock every night. And I know that's factual because I will text him at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, our time, and he'll answer.
That's funny.
Which means it's early as fuck his time, right? Like, it's way earlier because he's on the other coast.
Yeah.
Every single time I text him and he responds right away in the morning, I'm like, bro, don't you ever fucking sleep? And he's like, I'm getting ready to go to work. Like, all right, I'm going to try to.
I was just, quick shout out because we're on that conversation. It made me think of Jenna.
Yeah.
So quick shout out to Jenna. She's always up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Is that your early morning text message, buddy? Oh, because that's Jay for me.
Sometimes.
He's the only person I know that's up
I'm
that
not
early.
a good texter.
No.
It's more of like a women's group chat. Like we'll pop into the women's group at the same time. Every once in a while we'll send off text messages. I'm not a good texter.
No.
I am not. No. I have a message from Julie unopened from Monday.
Damn.
She's not the only one.
And you know it's there.
She's not the only one.
That would drive me fucking nuts.
I leave it because I feel like an absolute piece of shit knowing that I've just opened a message and people are hoping for a conversation and I do not have the time for it.
Do you hold it down so you can read it?
No.
You can. It won't give a red result.
I
actually
like
turned my red result off. I turned it off. I don't want people to know I read their shit.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Not for me. I get red receipts when you read my messages.
Do you?
You do.
I turned all that shit off. It shouldn't be fucking phone snitching on me. I turned all of that off.
If you read my messages and don't respond for 3 hours on purpose,
it's never 3 hours.
I'm gonna put my pinky straight up your nostril.
It's like 45 minutes at most because sometimes that's how long a Call of Duty game will go.
Oh my god, you're funny. All right, continuing on. I am constantly asking, what did the 25-year-old girl have that I don't? And it is driving me crazy. Ooh, I bet it was security. Self-assurance.
No baggage. But the real question is why are you worried about a 25-year-old girl's relationship that didn't work out?
Right. Why did she get a restraining order against you?
Right. And why are you comparing yourself to that?
Yeah.
That's a problem. You don't need to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You need to find your value in yourself and understand that people are where they are for a reason.
Yeah.
If dude wanted a 25-year-old woman, he'd still be pursuing 25-year-old women. Do you know how that relationship came about?
Yeah.
Like, because that would matter. Was he actively just looking for younger women because that's what he's into and realized that at 55 years old, a younger woman is not what he needs?
Right.
Right? Like, there's a whole lot of questions there.
He doesn't want to talk about any of his life before me, as he says it's the past and I shouldn't worry about any of it.
I agree.
Am I wrong for wanting to know all of the man I am preparing to spend my life with? It is okay to ask questions.
Well, you just said he didn't want marriage.
Right. How do you know you're going to prepare? What are you preparing for?
Right.
He can leave whenever he wants to. There is no guarantee that this is going to be the rest of your life. This sounds like we're in our 50s. Proposed to a chick. She left me. You were in a super shitty marriage with a bunch of kids.
We're a year in.
You want to just kind of do this together?
Right.
No, I want to be a wife. I do not want to be a girlfriend. I'm a wife in waiting, sir.
Yeah. You remember how we said that in relationships, things come up and you have to work through triggers that you didn't know was a trigger?
Yeah.
Until it triggers you. So it sounds to me like during the 3 years that she was single, she didn't do a whole lot of the work on herself. She just enjoyed being single because she didn't have to deal with another person. Mm-hmm. And now she's in a relationship and all the things that she didn't deal with is coming up. And all of that ugly is starting to rear its head.
Yeah.
It sounds like you need to go to therapy.
I agree.
And work through your shit.
Oh, speaking of therapy, I have an appointment tomorrow at 10.
Cool. So we'll have to go live for our 8-hour marathon after your therapy appointment.
I can do my therapy appointment sitting here live. I don't care.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Okay. It's all texting, so they won't be privy to it.
Yeah.
He is a poster child for dismissive avoidance, and the hard discussions almost always end in a fight and him shutting down. We have a wonderful relationship for the most part, and I'm happier now than ever in my life, but I want more. I can't see myself a 60-year-old girlfriend. How long is a reasonable time frame to wait for him to want me as his wife? He doesn't want marriage. You will never be this man's wife. I got lucky. I really, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what it was I did or said. Maybe it was that Haktua, but you changed your mind and you were all about marriage with me. And
why is it that you went to Haktua?
To be funny.
Okay. Because I was going to go to the way that you bounce your ass off my stomach.
Yeah.
To be funny.
Right.
So, perspective, I guess.
It is perspective, yeah.
Can we pause for a minute so that I can look something up?
Yes. I would not wait for this man to make you his wife. He's already told you he doesn't want marriage. You need to let go of the illusion of this man. And you need to move on. This is not going to be the rest of your life.
What if he did want marriage? What if that was in the cards for him, but she's not shown herself to be worthy of being a wife? Because there are people out there who know, like, I want a family. I want to marry. I want to be settled down. I want to grow old with somebody on a front porch of a fucking 80-acre property with a fucking deer feeder off in the distance so I can shoot them without having to get off the porch. Mm-hmm. And they have a whole fucking idea of what they want. And then they're dating, and the people that they're dating or that they're choosing to be with in the moment aren't that. And they know that they're not that, but they're just killing time with that person, waiting for somebody else to come along. I believe people do that shit.
Oh, I believe that too, yeah.
You may not be Mrs. Right, but you'll be Mrs. Right now for a little while.
Right. Life is easier with two people.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's financially, especially at that age. They don't have retirement funds and they're having to work. Like, there's a whole lot that goes into that shit. This is why the courting questionnaires and the courting questions matter, and trying to understand where things are at. If you had a conversation with this dude and you didn't fall in love with him within a week, and you were like, hey, what does the future look like for you? I want marriage one day. And he's like, that's not in the cards for me. And you're 3 weeks into courting. Like, cool, well,
time to move on.
We don't align. It's been fun. See you on the other side. Like,
the last sentence is, please help me with some guidelines as I'm completely lost. The guidelines I'm going to give is we are not going to do boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm looking to be married, so I'm a wife in waiting. And you are either also looking for marriage or you're looking for senior citizen fuck parties. And I'm not doing that. Assisted living is in Florida for that. You can go there.
Move to Temple Terrace.
Yeah.
Or the villages. The
villages, yeah.
That community has the highest STD rate in the state of Florida.
Nasty. They're absolutely foul there. He can go there.
I saw that shit on the news. I'm like, them old motherfuckers are gross.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, man.
I was going to say they get down, but they do a lot more than that.
Get down. My advice to this emailer is to go to therapy.
100%. And this is kind of a sponsored plug. I mean, not right now, but we do work with BetterHelp. We have a code with them, a discount code.
/betterhelp.com/to-be-better. It saves you 10%.
Yep. And they also have insurance plans. They have monthly payment plans. It's fantastic. It can all be done from your phone in the comfort of your house.
Yeah.
I don't even have to talk to my therapist. We send messages. I don't have anything else.
I don't either. This, you can't change people.
Right.
And you comparing yourself to somebody that's not in his life anymore, and you're worried about his past so much that you're not willing to, accept who he is, and you're worried about marrying him.
Right.
Like, how is that going to work out for you? How are you going to be that concerned about somebody's past and like the shit that he's gone through, and compare yourself to people that he's no longer with, but still say that you want to marry him? Yeah. It doesn't sound healthy to me.
Yeah. I'm also still very much hung up on how long should I wait before he makes me his wife. What are you talking about? He said he doesn't want to get married. Yeah. This is not an option right now. That shows me a level of delusion. Like, you heard what he said, but you're so focused on what you want that you don't care.
A lot of women believe that they can change the man that they're dating.
Crazy.
That's a fact, though. A lot of women believe that shit. It's why the women want the bad guy, because they believe that he's not going to be that way with them. Track record has stated otherwise.
What was that movie that we watched? It's based in like the 70s.
You talking about the biker movie?
Yeah.
That was from the 40s or 50s.
Was it the 40s or 50s?
Yeah.
That gives me that same vibe.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. It was for the Vietnam times. So it was the 70s.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know why I thought it was World War II.
I don't know. We've been watching a lot of World War II stuff.
We have been.
Yeah.
It was, so that was the 70s, 60s and 70s. But yeah, same. It was just, I actually it's called The Bikers.
Yeah. Really thought that she was going to change that bad boy biker because he loved her.
Yeah.
Love is not enough.
No. Boy chose the club life over her after all that time.
Got himself killed. I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Let's do one more.
Okay.
There's got to be a good one in there somewhere. Maybe an update. Is there an update email we can get into? I'd like an update.
All right. So this one is called Patreon Take a Beat.
Okay.
Yesterday, I was reminded to take a beat before hitting send on a text message. Backstory, we live in the mountains of North Carolina, and our home is primarily heated with a wood stove. We have electric heaters in places where the wood stove can't reach, and a backup electric heater in place in case the kids and I are home alone, because I'm not very good at building up a fire that will last a long time.
Sounds like something you should work on.
Yeah, I was just thinking I would be practicing that just in case. I am that person. It is very morbid. And it's probably unhealthy for me to do this to the extent that I do, but I think about how I need to prepare myself for when my husband's not here. I am so terrified of being helpless. And that situation, me not being able to build a fire, and if my husband's not home, I have to rely on electricity. What if the electricity doesn't work anymore? Extreme heat or cold is overstimulating to me. It ends up being just as overstimulating as, if not more than, too much noise or a room that's too bright. And for the past 4 days, my husband has been working 12 to 16-hour shifts after already working a full 40-hour week last week. So when I walked in the door of our home yesterday, I knew that the main room was going to be cold. But when I went to escape into our bedroom to put my things away, that room was also unexpectedly cold. Dear God, why? Because he at some point turned the heater off. Of course he did. He's the only one that does. He's hot-natured and I'm cold-natured. And I've asked him not to do so. And I've asked him not to so many times.
So he has to suffer his discomfort so that you have comfort? How does that work?
Right.
Where's the balance in that? Why don't you learn how to start a fire and take care of yourself so that when he leaves, he doesn't have to stop and go, wait a minute, she's not capable as an adult of starting a fire in a situation where we live in a cabin and this is necessary for us to survive.
Right.
It's not safe to start a fire and leave the fucking house. Like there's a whole lot of things that go into that.
Well, this is the electric heater in their bedroom.
Okay. Well, it's either way.
Yeah.
It's a space heater. Those things those catch fire. Like natural selection has gone a very long way because we are very safe now compared to what we've been.
Yeah.
Could you imagine somebody 200 or 300 years ago going, I don't do well with extreme heat or extreme cold. It's overwhelming. Therefore, somebody else has got to do this. You're going to die.
Yeah.
You'll die because you're relying on somebody else. What if he goes out and does something and gets eaten by a bear and you can't deal with the cold because you're overwhelmed?
He's gone on that 40-hour work week and doesn't come back.
Yeah.
So continuing on, I'm not sure if it's just the cold or mostly the unexpected aspect of things, but my overstimulation turned into rage very quickly. I picked up my phone and started to text him, for the love of all that is holy, can we not turn off the heater? Just turn it all the way down so that the thermostat has a chance to kick on. Just don't turn it off. Pause. Think about this, my gracious heart said, and take a beat. If he had turned down the heater instead of off, the room may have still felt unbearably cold. He turned it off because he was too hot. Does his discomfort matter less than yours? When he's too hot, he can't sleep and he's tired. Speaking of which, he's still working. Probably through discomfort he can do nothing about, while you have the ability to put on a sweater and warm up the house.
There you go. I love that she fucking got that recognition.
Yeah. Does he feel like building a fire first thing when he gets off of his 18th hour? No. He does it for you every day, even after working all day. Delete that ridiculous message. Does it feel like an inconsiderate act to you? Yes. But how is he going to feel when all he wants is to be at home, but all he sees is you fussing at him? Let him get home, catch his breath, take a shower, eat for probably the first time all day, and then just ask him calmly. Ask him to help you come up with an alternative solution between him being too hot and you being too cold.
Love that.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I was overstimulated to the point of tears. My entire body hurt, and I still had to cook dinner and deal with the kids and homework time. But I put away the text, put my thickest sweater on, and went about turning up all the electric heat throughout the house.
Okay, let's pause for a minute. Let's take a second to recognize that she didn't turn the heater on, that she didn't put on a sweater or a jacket. She went to her phone to complain while she was cold.
Right. She was going to suffer a little bit longer.
Right.
Just to be able to get the anger out.
Yeah.
And I will go as far as to say it wasn't the overstimulation or the cold being too much for you. You were already overstimulated. Probably have a hard car ride with the kids. Probably multiple things didn't go right during the day for you. You were already upset. You just wanted a reason to be angry about something. And him forgetting for the 10th time of you asking not to turn the heater off is the perfect reason to get mad about something. Perfect reason.
I don't know about you, but if I was cold, I'd have went straight to my clothes. I'd turn the heater
that's
on
exactly
full
what I
blast.
do.
I'd have warmed the fuck up before I did anything else. Especially if I'm overstimulated by being cold.
Yeah. That's why I own so many cardigans.
We live that life. Mm-hmm. Keep the house on 74. I keep the studio at 72.
As I'm here with a blanket and a cardigan.
And I'm in shorts and a t-shirt with no shoes on.
It's so cold in here.
Right. And if we were living separate lives, it would be 80 in here like you used to keep your apartment. You used to not even run your AC.
Oh, yeah. I had all the windows open. Yeah.
I hated that shit. I'd come over and sweat my ass off. And if you weren't living with me, I'd be set at like 65. My fucking AC would be freezing up twice a year. Like, we found balance. I love that she paused and processed all of that and deleted that message.
Me too. That's a big deal. I made dinner, signed off on the kids' homework, and read them a chapter of the novel that we're reading together at bedtime. When he finally did get home, we ate pizza. He ate pizza that I put in the oven when he called on his way home. He took a shower, and when the kids were in bed and we were settling in for the night, I could barely keep my eyes open. So I never brought up the heater. I guess it didn't feel important at that moment, but I made a mental note to bring it up later. As I'm halfway drifted off, he kisses my cheek and says, "Thank you, baby. Thank you for taking care of the house and the kids and the chaos by yourself." Oh my God, I'm not going to cry.
And you could have not had that moment.
Could have blown it all up, all because of the heater.
Yep. Crazy.
I'm not going to cry. Okay. I'm sorry you've had to take care of everything lately. Very sleepily, I said, "Thank you for working hard for us," and we both called it a night. I'm struck now with how my text could have and would have absolutely changed everything.
Yep. Damn.
Instead of relief for finally being off of work, he may have felt anxiety. The gratitude he has would have been taken over by guilt he already kind of sort of feels. For what? For the audacity of working past a point of exhaustion, doing a job that provides for his entire family while I had a little shiver? How dare he, right? I remember we also joked that I'd rather do my roles than his and said that he would take his over mine. But that stupid text could have and would have obliterated absolutely all of that. All of the love, respect, and levity we found in each other at the end of a long and frustrating day. Sometimes I feel if God was capable of such a thing, he would be smug. Or maybe I'm mistaking smugness for his pride in me. Instead of choosing anger, I chose grace. And in place of my husband's shame, I got his gratitude. Imagine that.
I love that.
That was a beautiful email. That was a good one to end on.
Yeah. Guys, if you enjoy what you're listening to, make sure you subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 250,000 viewers if you've watched this far. If you're listening on Spotify or any of the streaming services that our podcast is on, please go back to YouTube and subscribe over there, because I know you watch YouTube just as much as you listen to your podcast. Yeah. They are currently the largest streaming service on the planet.
YouTube, I believe it. There's so much information on YouTube.
Yep.
TV shows, movies are on YouTube now.
Yeah. We're trying to establish and maintain a presence there, so it would really help us out if you guys subscribed over there. And with that being said, remember that you are the author of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
All right.